So what we are going to do now is we are going to compare shooting with a constant light source with shooting with flash. So the setup I've chosen over here is we are shooting the constant light first. So this is a studio light with my 55 centimeter octabox, some reflective surface on the other side. That's a white styrofoam board, white on one side, black on the other side. Plus we've got the photo camera over here with the 55 millimeter lens, and we've got the video camera lens there, and the video camera has got the same exposure values set as the camera, so I can show you more exactly what the key points are compared to shooting with flash and with constant light. What I will do right now, I will zoom in a bit for that the video camera sees more or less exactly the same as what the photo camera sees. Because the first point is, for sure, that when you're shooting with constant light sources, you exactly see what the camera sees. Okay? When you're shooting flash, the exposure happens the second you are firing your flash, when you're pressing your shutter button. That's when the light is falling onto your subject. And with constant light sources, nothing changes when you're pressing the shutter button. Okay? And you can use modeling lights for sure with flash. So modeling lights are basically constant light sources built into your flash so that you can at least assess what you are doing. But the ratios are never exactly the same, so it's completely different with constant light sources. So I will take a photo right now. So I will do a friendly face, look into the camera. So what you can see on the PC basically is the same you can see on video. So now you can do live changes in real time. So if this side, for example, is not bright enough, you can move the reflective surface inwards and really check the video, or if you are the photographer, you check the model, it got brighter, and this is exactly what the camera will see. So you can check if it's enough already. The same as the other way around. If it's too bright, you simply move it far away. And then you can check if it's enough. Take a photo. So it got darker again. If you would do this with flash, you would have to do several test shots. Okay? So even if it's still too bright, you can turn it around, add some negative fill, and now you will have some very dark side. So this is one of the big advantages of shooting with constant light sources. The disadvantage is basically that the power output of a constant light source is far, far lower than a flash being fired. So this means that you might have to compromise on your shutter speed and ISO settings, especially if you want to freeze motion, because when you're using large soft boxes, etc., the light output you are getting compared to the freeze motion setting of your shutter speed you're intending to use, the output might be too low, so you have to increase ISO pretty much. Plus, also the models have to be more conscious about moving, because what I can simply show you, the shutter speed at the moment is set to 125th of a second. So if I'm doing this, taking a photo, you will immediately see that you see nothing. I will do it again. Okay, so you've got motion blur. So when you're using constant light sources, you have to be aware of that motion blur might be an issue depending on the settings you are using, which is for sure also true if you're using flash in an environment where you're also taking ambient light into the frame. Okay, but if you're using shooting flash, cutting out all ambient light, then the images will be pretty crisp and pretty sharp. So what I will do right now, I will change the setup, and we will come back in a second and doing the same with flash. So now we are back. I changed the lamp to a flash, and it's the same octabox, same position. I measured everything already, so the setup over here beside that didn't change. The camera settings changed from ISO 800 and a shutter speed of 125th of a second, f6.3 before, now to ISO 100 and shutter speed of 160th of a second, which is the max sync speed of that camera. So I'm now going to move in a bit again. So for that we've got the same visuals as before. So as you can see, the image in camera changed. Okay, what you can see right now is the ambient lighting. We've got a large window on this end. I've got one light source over there just to give a good light for filming. So you will see no shadows, nothing. So if I take a test image right now, you can see that's what the flash is producing. What you can see is completely different, okay? And also if you're moving in the wall, so I move it in a bit, I will take a test shot. So if you don't like it, if it's not bright enough, you have to move it in again. Yeah, so if it's still too bright, you have to move it out again. But the image doesn't change. What you see is not changing, okay? So what's just changing is the image you're taking. Okay? Same with having it completely black. Okay, so that's a big difference. You have to take test shots every time you want to see what you just changed. When it comes to motion blur, it's for sure, it's much staler. So I do this again. As you can see, no motion blur at all. That's because the flash at the moment maybe fires at 1/8000 of a second. I can also measure this one if you're interested in. So I will measure the flash duration in a second. Yeah, it's 1/3,500th of a second. Okay, so that's really enough to get the motion blur out of the frame and get a freeze frame. So these are the big differences between these two methods. Since I'm working in studio and I like to keep my ISO low, etc., I like to work with flash. This is also something we are going to do in this workshop most of the time. Simply when shooting with people, you've got always motion, etc., So all these combinations of motion blur, ISO settings, etc. For me, it's better, it's more versatile and safer to shoot with flash. That's my preferred method. When constant lighting comes in handy is when you're doing something like product photography. Okay, so nothing changed. You can control everything. Nothing is moving. It's all your control. So nothing is changing without you interacting. Okay, so that's one of the main reasons I using constant lighting if I'm doing food photography or product photography, which I'm not doing very often, but that's a premium application for constant lighting. On the other hand, if you're doing portraits, where there's not a lot of movement, you can also use constant lighting. But it's up to you during this course, throughout the course. In most cases, we will do flash illumination or using flash and combine it also with ambient lighting. So that's it for this class. See you in the next lesson. Thank you for watching this chapter. Please like and subscribe. If you got any questions, just shoot me a comment under the video and check out the description for further information. And now I'm happy to see you in the next video.